know an Oswald. We've all got that one friend who's good at everything, and 99% of the time they're a joy to hang out with. And then there's that 1% we're like, oh, this guy.
This piece of man candy.
Can I believe my eyes? Edward! Who don't remember me? Oswald.
Hi.
I just wanted to know, how was your first meeting together? How is that first set of conversations? And is there anything that surprised you about each other when you met?
We met on Zoom, didn't we? We had a really initial Zoom meeting to discuss the role of film and get acquainted. And I don't know, so I go into these things with like a clear head and a full heart, and I have this attitude where I'm always, whenever I meet someone, I'm going to trust them, and then let them disappoint me, and then walk away forever. And so I didn't come to it with any sort of like expectation, because I know all too well the weight and the strings and arrows of expectation and what have you. So I try to go into everything as open-minded as I can.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think we connected, right away. I think Adam is very easy to connect with and share a laugh with, and so I think we were both looking forward to going on this crazy journey. So
obviously, part of the movie, Sebastian, you have these prosthetics, you have like a lot of makeup as an actor. Does that help you get into the character, or is it a problem for you to find the right way to deal with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime, even if it's a costume, to be honest, I think it affects you. It changes your persona. And I'm thinking even like in terms of Oswald's costume, right? Like it's like you walk in a room and it probably allows you to sort of have a different energy or even physically, right? Like
it changes your physicality, and it creates that separation between like character and self, and as long as you're wearing a costume and not letting the costume wear you, you can like go in and just like own it.
Yeah, there's actually great freedom in that when you're no longer really seeing yourself.
I read that you actually went around New York with the prosthetics. Did that help as well to understand the character a little bit better?
Of course. I mean, there's nothing out there like real experience of people who are not in a movie but who are going out there day to day, and it's look, I think it was mind blowing and extremely revealing to experience, because we're in a very kind of ignorant, cruel world, actually. Like, people, I keep saying, are not very good liars. Everyone has manners and they've learned social cues to some extent. Some people don't. In New York, it's not so. People don't hold back. I probably feel London, I don't know, you get a couple of people that are very direct, and I certainly had interactions like that, and all of that helped. When
your character comes into the movie, it's such a breath of fresh air, because he's so confident, his charisma is amazing. How much do you put yourself into the character? How much separates you from him?
So I lean that way as a person anyway. I'm quite out there and quite forward. But Oswald is the same thing, like turned up to 11. He just like bursts in, dressed like an utter legend, and just goes, hello! And then from then on, it's just Oswald being relentlessly charming, to the point of like almost suspicion, where you're like, what does this guy want? What is this guy's deal? Is there anything he's bad at? And I think we all know an Oswald. We've all got that one friend who's good at everything, and 99% of the time they're a joy to hang out with. And then there's that 1% we're like, oh, this guy.
So you mentioned before that there was a scene in particular that you were a bit worried, which is the fight scene on stage between you two. What were your concerns about this scene, and how was filming it?
Well, it's a fight scene, and you don't want anyone to get hurt, right? So, and also, the theatre, we had a real tight schedule in that theatre.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had like 3 days or something in the theater, and sort of the thing with the ceiling falling, like for instance, the lights, they weren't even able to test it That was at the end of the day, and basically it was the thing you see in the movie is the first time that happened, and so everyone felt lucky that we got it. But yeah, it was intricate. It was heavy, emotional scene, and you want to make sure you get it right. And sometimes when you're under the pressure, it actually helps.
I mean, you're very experienced with the stunts and action movies, so I'm sure that helped somehow.
Yeah, I mean, but it's always different, and it's not. This isn't. I think we wanted this to feel as realistic as possible,
and it's not chaotic, right?
Yeah, and not. These are not as experienced. Edward never fought in his life. I mean, he shouldn't look like he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Then for you, was it more stressful to shoot this or the karaoke scene?
Oh, crikey. I mean, they were both stressful for different reasons, but this was the one I had like marked on the calendar. I think I had my alarm went off on my phone and it came up, "You're fighting Bucky today." And I'm like, oh no, you're going to die today, Pearson.
No.
And there were so many moving parts to it as well, because I got to put my hand in the right place, do the right thing, jump over the sofa, then everything like happens with the lighting, and I got to start crying and go, oh my God, I don't know my own strength. Die. and there's so much going on in that scene. The karaoke scene is quite static.
Yeah.
And we had enough time to like go again if we had to. Whereas no, the time crush of the fight scene was like a real thing.
Yeah. So Sebastian, if you had to do that karaoke scene, what song would you choose?
Oh God, don't ask. I mean, it's like this is always but recently we did go to karaoke, so it's fresh in my mind.
We did. You went for it.
I might have to go with Mr. Brightside by the Killers. I think is a good anthem.
Such a good song. That first album is just all killer, no filler.
Or Clocks by Coldplay. I mean, that was another one we could have played.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sebastian, you've been doing many different movies in the last few years, like, Marvel movies, which are big, and then small productions like this one. As an actor, do you approach it differently, or is it different for you, the process of preparing these characters?
Yeah, it's always different. I mean, because everything requires different things, and sometimes something that's worked before maybe is not the right application here. So I try to stay flexible as much as possible, but I feel I've gotten to kind of know some things that work for me, and then I try and repeat that in terms of like approaching it, but it's always different. This was such a unique, completely different experience, and a lot of this, because the script was so specific and the way we were shooting it and all these one-ers, long takes, and on film, it really was about us being as prepared as possible, almost like a piece of music. Everything had to kind of go and connect, and so we would get it right. So, and now that's just a very different way of working than some of the other things I've been on.
Adam, you've been fighting, you've been working for years to, get this visibility and these opportunities for people with disfigurements on screen, which have not been very well represented most of the time. So do you think things are changing? Do you feel any kind of change, and do you think this movie makes that change happen?
I think this is the start of something. I think one of the biggest compliments that we can get for this film is thank you. And at the New York screening, we had several people from organisations for visual difference in the US. There are going to be some in the UK at some screenings. And I think the biggest thing is when they come up and say, thank you, I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel represented for the first time in my life. For me, that's the biggest one I can take from this whole thing.